Because what you, the unsung heroes in the wastewater industry, do matters. Join me, Suzan Chin-Taylor, the DooDoo Diva, a longtime veteran of the wastewater, trenchless, and civil infrastructure industry each week as I deliver industry know-how from industry pros who know how. Whether you want to learn about the latest trends in technology, training and retaining great talent, sales and marketing, leadership and growth, or simply how to be more efficient, productive, or profitable, this podcast is for you. Let's dive in.
Are you feeling overwhelmed by marketing and not getting the opportunities you desire and deserve? Well, you're not alone. Many businesses in our industry have struggled with this same problem until they learned and implemented what we're going to reveal in Lifting the Veil: Secrets of Top Marketers, Time-Tested Strategies, and AI Innovation. This is a very special interactive bootcamp-style workshop being presented at the upcoming 2025 WWETT in Indianapolis. In this workshop, we're going to lift the veil on proven traditional, digital, and AI strategies that generate sales, recapture lost leads, and set you up to thrive in 2025 and beyond. Don't miss this opportunity to transform your growth and achieve your business goals in 2025 and beyond. Click the link below in the show notes for more information and to reserve your seat at this very special workshop. We look forward to seeing you in Indianapolis, February 18th, 2025. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the DooDoo Divas Smells Like Money podcast. And today we are continuing our visit. Welcome back to the show, Drew, with Drew Lewis of Reline America to continue and wrap up our series on UVGRP for pipeline rehabilitation. So again, thank you for being willing to come back and continue this conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Sure thing. And so today we're going to be diving into, all right, you're an engineer, you're an asset owner. You've been tuning into the last two episodes and you're thinking, maybe this is interesting. Maybe I need to delve into this a little bit further. And so I'm a firm believer that the best client is an educated one. Yeah. And so with that said, Drew, I would like you to share your wisdom for someone that is new to this, that this has intrigued them, they're thinking about it, and they're on the end user side or the specifying consulting engineer side. Yep. What are those important questions when it comes to due diligence for their clients or for their community they should be asking a vendor of, a maker of the materials or the equipment, as well as maybe even what they should be asking their installer to be prepared for so that they are making the best buying decision possible?
Yeah. There's quite a few out there, and you got to really look at all the options available in the industry right now, because you and I talked just briefly earlier, there's not one silver bullet to fix everything. There's really not. There's so many different avenues you can go down now for each project. You do want to make sure you're getting the right solution for that particular rehabilitation project. So in this case, for UVGRP or any kind of lining project, let's say, if you're specifically looking at should we use UVGRP for our upcoming project, I think some of the big things you need to look at are location. We're not buying a house here, but you're buying a project, so you want to make sure you're using the right product in that particular area. For instance, is it in a heavy residential? Is it in a downtown setting? Heavy traffic? We want to look at how much disruption is there going to be on the surface level during this project. Everything from traffic control to lane closures to boots on the ground for the actual contractor themselves doing the project. How much disruption is this going to cause the public while we're doing this project? It doesn't make more sense for us to dig and replace. Does it make more sense for us to do some sort of lining? It all depends, right? So some of the other things you want to look at too would be, is it a storm? Is it sanitary? Are we going into a lake? Is it going into a river? I know we briefly talked about that in the last episode, but I think those are things to consider. you want to make sure that what you're using isn't going to be detrimental to that community in one way or another, right? Whether it's, again, traffic or daily disruptions or environmentally. Do we want to look at where that water is going if it is a storm line? Do we want to look into is it a combined sewer type situation, a combined system? I'm sorry. Those are all things you have to consider. So really, as the end user, the municipality or the design engineer, I think it's important to look at, first and foremost, where are we doing this? What does that community, what is their overall viewpoint of disruption, environment? You want to look at past projects, maybe. What have we done in the past? What was successful? What was not successful? What was the community's reaction to that too? Do we have 3 months to dig and replace, or would you rather be in and out in a couple of days? And there are some lining options where we're in and out. There is no dig. So there's a lot of trenchless opportunity in some of these markets. Another big one is longevity. You're paying a substantial amount of money in some situations to rehab a line. You want to make sure you're getting, a return on that investment. So with a lot of these liners out there right now, they're meeting certain specific specs that are within the industry, correct? Mm-hmm. So with UVGRP, I know ours specifically, it meets and exceeds that ASTM 2019 guidelines. So with us, again, it's that 50-year life. A lot of people right now are just saying, well, we're kind of in a weird moment where some of the seasoned staff at some of these cities, they're retiring, and you have some new blood coming up, and some of them are just, as long as it gets me through to my retirement, we're good. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, that new batch coming in, they've got a ways to go, so they want to make sure it gets through their time as well. Mm-hmm. So, that's not me taking a shot or anything. It's the truth. It's just kind of where we're at right now in the industry. But you can be rest assured that, 50 years is going to get you some good return on that investment.
I think it all comes down to, do you pay me now or do you pay me later?
Right.
And when we're talking about specifications, what are some of the technical properties as they're doing the due diligence and comparing, apples to apples, different UVGRP materials that are out there? Are there specific criteria that they should be looking for to make sure that, okay, if I've got this, I must have that?
Yeah, I think you can look at things like live load. So what's on the surface? Are we talking about a runway? Are we talking about a railroad crossing? Is it just your traditional street with asphalt on top? What's sitting at the top of that surface? Another thing they need to look at and consider is what's your groundwater like. That does play a pretty significant role in the material needed to be put in the ground. What kind of soil density there is. There's a lot of factors that go into designing a liner. And those can all dictate how thick that liner is going to be as well, too. So I think when you're on that design side, you need to make sure you have everything ready to go for that contractor and that manufacturer so that they give you the right product. There's a few other things on that list, too, but I'm not going to bore you with that. But those are some big ones right there.
Okay. And so what about, from an installer standpoint, as the asset owner, what are some of the things that they should be asking a potential installer of this to ensure the best possible outcome? What do they want or should expect that contractor to have?
Sure. I know if it were my city, I would want to know that the contractor was trained and certified to install that liner, first and foremost. I'd want to make sure that they had the backing and support of that manufacturer should they need it. And really just know that, there is some traceability as far as the quality goes with that product too, because, in the construction world, any and everything can happen. Nothing's ever perfect. So you want to make sure that, God forbid, something were to come up on the job site, that there is some sort of traceability and that they have the support of the manufacturer on the back end too to help.
Okay. So now let's shift to looking at this from a contractor's perspective. Mm-hmm. If you're a contractor and you've been listening to this series and thinking, this sounds like it could be something lucrative for me, or maybe I want to start having this in my toolbox to offer this to my customers. What are some of the things that a contractor in that due diligence should be asking any manufacturer of this that they're thinking about getting involved? What do they really need to know and be asking to make sure, one, they determine, yeah, I could really do this and this is good. This is actually good for me. And what should they be looking for in a supplier to make sure they're going to have the fewest headaches possible as they're entering a new field? Because, I hear this from contractors all the time. You've got this, we go rainbows and unicorns, hope for everything going well, but that learning a new process is sometimes not that easy.
It's not. And I think
can go wrong, and that you're hoping that you're going to get that ROI back in a very short period of time. But I'd like you to also talk about what should they be looking at from real world, realistically. If you do this, when should you expect that you're actually going to be starting to make some money, or even maybe you don't want to address that, feeling comfortable in this process where you feel like, yeah, this is profitable, this is good, I can do a lot more of this.
Yeah, and I'll address that question right now because it's most fresh in my head. I think that's a tough one to answer because every organization kind of operates differently and everyone kind of moves at their own pace. I'm going to try to say this non-biasedly, obviously, but we've been fortunate on my end to have a network of installers that really come on board and just get after it with marketing, business development, trainings, and just going after project after project after project. And that's really what it takes. And I'm not sitting here saying that there's not other ways to do it, because there are. But in regards to how quickly can you expect to really be having this thing rolling and being efficient, it really comes down to the crew that you have. So I would say if you are a contractor and this is something that you are thinking about getting into, make sure you have the crew that you need to be successful. I mean, and it's hard to say that because I understand how employee retention is right now. It's difficult. I understand it. I get where everyone's coming from. But you should have a core set of guys and gals out there that are capable of taking on a new venture with that company. And what they should be looking for in an installer or a manufacturer, is, again, support. What are your capabilities? What do you manufacture? What are you capable of manufacturing in a timely manner? Lead times, that can be a big one. It can destroy a project, to be quite honest with you. So you want to make sure that their capabilities on the manufacturing side meet up to what you are preaching on the streets, right? Because if you go out there and saying, hey, I can have this project done by XYZ date, but we can't have it done till XYZ plus 3, that's a problem. It's a problem. So you really want to make sure that where you're getting your material from gives you the support you need. They have a long history of providing successful product within the industry too.
Now, I know that Reline America prides itself on the fact that it is an ISO, I always get this mix, ISO 9000, 2015.
2001.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
ISO?
Yeah.
2001.
2001.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry.
You can, 2001's fine. We all know what that is.
It's all these numbers. Yeah.
I won't make fun of you.
Yeah. So why does that weigh in? I mean, why did you decide to do that? And how does that factor in? And is that something that is an important factor for contractors? And what does, I know that it's quality control, but beyond that, what does it provide them?
Yeah, so the ISO management system it's something that we can use on a daily basis, and it is a quality control system that allows everything we do in that factory to be traceable and repeatable. So anything that comes into the factory, anything that leaves the factory is recorded. It is tested to make sure it meets our standard. Anything that leaves the factory, we can go back and find out what raw materials were used for it. And I'm sorry, I'm jumping back here now, but we said 2,000, it's 9,000. I heard you say 2,000, so I said, yeah, 2,000, it's 9,001. So anyways, now that's clarified. It's just a really nice tool to have because it keeps everybody honest, to be quite honest with you. I mean, if God forbid something happens and we can go back on our end, look into all the materials used in that process, and see if something was missed. I mean, human error happens. We try to limit that as much as possible, but with these systems that are available right now, that limits it. We can go back, we can take a look at samples that we keep for every liner that goes out the door and try to test from there and see what's going on. I think it's a good thing to have. It's again, it's keeping everyone honest.
And another thing that I've seen that maybe sets you apart, that makes you very unique, and just kind of diving into why you did it this way, is that because it creates a lot more on everybody's plate at your manufacturing facility, is that you have everything under one roof.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in the trenchless world where, they might make the material, but the equipment comes from a third party, or they get, truck builds from another party.
Yeah.
And so you as a company made that decision to have it all under one roof, under one house. And without it sounding like a sales pitch, what made you decide to go in that direction? And what do you see as that being the biggest benefit for a contractor? And, because I'm sure maybe there's financial savings by, what is it, part and parcel things. But at the end of the day, maybe the best investment is to try to get everything under one roof. And just, your philosophy on that, Drew.
Yeah. My thought process is that on the manufacturing side, we have the ability to really pair up our liners with our equipment and really hone in on precision on the installation side. So we do make our own curing equipment. We make our own cans that go on excuse me, on the end of in the manholes at the end of the liner. We have everything from trailer curing units to large CDL trucks to trailer mounted blowers, third man winches, you name it, the whole gamut of installation equipment. I like it simply because for us, it's another way to keep that quality assurance, right? We're able to remote in on someone's truck if we need to. If there's an issue in the field, we can do that. We're able to say, okay, well, God forbid you had an issue on an install, we can take a look at the equipment too and make sure everything's firing. Or if we have an installer that is running our equipment and they have, I don't know, a malfunction, it's sewer equipment, so it's going to happen at some point. Something will break, but we're able to get replacements out or a part out quickly. We keep a large inventory of parts, the most common wear parts, and they're there, they're ready to go. So on my side, it's nice because it's easier for me to make one phone call. And on the contractor side, it's even easier for them to make one phone call as well. And that could be even for the asset owner, if you think about it. They could pick up the call and say, hey, I have a question about this. And it could be equipment related. It could be liner related. It could be project related, but it's still only one call. That one call can really save a lot of time if you're in an emergency situation.
Makes a lot of sense. And it's also because I think we've all been in that situation where, we have something going wrong on our computer. So you call Adobe and Adobe says, oh, it's not me, it's Apple or Microsoft. And then you call Microsoft, Microsoft or Apple says, oh, well, no, it's not us. And you go round and round with everybody passing the buck. That I can see where having just one vendor that has everything under one roof, there's going to be no passing the buck. They know it to be with something that they produced for you.
Yeah. I mean, it could be something as simple as, hey guys, I have a really tricky project coming up. I would love one of your technicians to be on site for this. Great. We'll send them. because we have internal technicians that can go out. They do our trainings too. So they'll do trainings for new customers, trainings for new employees, training for contractor new employees, refresher classes, all that stuff, field support. It's something, again, that we offer internally to keep all under one roof.
Right. Well, Drew, I want to thank you for, just sharing your take on finding the right vendor. How
Absolutely.
Is it right for you? This is great. And for those of you who have been listening and this subject has intrigued you, if you are planning to be at the upcoming WWETT show in Indianapolis next month, there is going to be an expert panel discussion on the topic of UVGRP, on some of the things that we've covered in this series, as well as some other things, with perspectives from engineers, from contractors, from city asset owners, and the like. And there's going to be a really nice hospitality that's going to take place after that. And so we invite you to join us. And here's one tip. If you are going to be there and you're planning on coming at the event, make sure that you get there early so that you can queue up in line in the food line before Drew gets there.
That's a really good piece of advice. That's a great one, actually, because I will try to sneak up front.
Yes. And this, let me tell you, this man can eat.
Thanks.
Love you, Drew.
Yeah, you too.
And again, thank you for tuning in. And if you would like to learn more about Reline America, that can be found at relineamerica.com. You can connect with Drew on LinkedIn, and he posts a lot of good information, as well as Reline America posts a lot of good information on their blog and on their LinkedIn feed. And so again, Drew, thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you.
I will see you next month in Indianapolis. And until next time, keep it flowing. Are you feeling overwhelmed by marketing and not getting the opportunities you desire and deserve? Well, you're not alone. Many businesses in our industry have struggled with this same problem until they learned and implemented what we're going to reveal in Lifting the Veil: Secrets of Top Marketers, Time-Tested Strategies, and AI Innovation. This is a very special interactive bootcamp-style workshop being presented at the upcoming 2025 WWETT in Indianapolis. In this workshop, we're going to lift the veil on proven traditional, digital, and AI strategies that generate sales, recapture lost leads, and set you up to thrive in 2025 and beyond. Don't miss this opportunity to transform your growth and achieve your business goals in 2025 and beyond. Click the link below in the show notes for more information and to reserve your seat at this very special workshop. We look forward to seeing you in Indianapolis, February 18th, 2025.
Be sure to subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode. If you're an industry expert and would like to be considered as a guest on the show, click the Be a Podcast Guest link below in the show notes for more information. Thanks again for joining me, the DooDoo Diva, on this week's episode of the Smells Like Money podcast.